Hi, welcome back to Hydroponics Daily with me, Dr. Russell Sharp, the inventor of Gold Leaf, the one fertilizer that will get you from seed to harvest with just one bottle. That's the plug out of the way. We're going to talk about grafting today, which is another propagation technique. And for certain plants, it's the main propagation technique. So here you get a plant that's rooted and normally a young sapling, and that's referred to as the rootstock. And then you take a plant with completely different or slightly different genetic makeup, a different variety or a different strain or even a different species sometimes. And you take a small section with the bud on and you put that on top, and it's referred to as the scion. And that's the bit that will grow away. So this bit will be the root and lower stem, and this bit will be the foliage, the fruits, the flowers. So you cut them at an angle like you would with a cutting to increase the surface area and increase the chances of it forming a good graft union. That's called the graft union there. And then you might wrap it with tape, or you might seal it with wax. And then the cells that divide in this area, the cambium, they form together and they meld, and the xylem will connect and the phloem will connect, and then the sap will run in both directions. And it will act as if it's one plant. However, genetically, it's two different organisms, just like if you had somebody's hand grafted onto you. So the rootstock and the scion, and you would do this because both are giving you features that you want in the combined plant. So rootstocks often, in apples, you'll have rootstocks that will determine the size of the actual tree. So you might have a dwarf rootstock for a garden, or you might have a very vigorous rootstock for growing an orchard in a poor soil. In tomatoes, you might have a rootstock that is cold tolerant, so tolerant to cold soils, or very often you might have a rootstock that is tolerant to a pest or a disease. Now, the rootstock doesn't imbue any features onto the scion, so this scion is normally chosen because it's got the particular flowering or fruiting or vegetation that you want in the foliage. And the rootstock, say the rootstock's from a purple flowering or fruiting variety, you won't get purple suddenly flowers on this plant. It'll be whatever the scion is. So very few features travel up the plant. And the scion will then, hopefully this graft union will form, and hopefully it will stay around for the life of the plant. They can fail, so you do get graft union fails. So things like plum trees, cherry trees, you'll see that over the years they start to grow a bit bigger, and they might catastrophically fall over when they've been what's called top worked, where the graft is quite high up the plant, maybe 6 feet up on the plant. And so that's an issue. Where else do we see grafting a lot? Roses. Roses are grafted, and one of the issues you have to make sure to look out for with roses and any sort of grafting plant is suckers coming up from the mother plant and overtaking and the scion material, because in roses this will not be an ornamental rose variety. It'll be just the rootstock bog standard flowers. Not very nice, and then this eventually the graft union will fall and die off because the rootstock doesn't need it anymore. So you always have to cut those suckers, as they're referred to, off in many plants. Some plants that's more often than not. So most cherries, really good roses, wisterias, they'll be grafted. The more expensive ones, if you're thinking, why is this one more expensive? Often it's grafted. You can see the graft union, and in tomatoes, you're now starting to see a lot more grafted tomatoes come into the market. And you can do, as I said, well, let's talk about that tomorrow. Got an interesting thing about grafting for tomorrow. That's been Hydroponics Daily for today.